Welcome to Tech Abilities, produced live in the Blind Abilities studio. I want to thank all of you for listening and for sending in your feedback. It's well appreciated. And if you want to send us some feedback, give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave a message. We'd love to hear from you. Or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the tech tidbits and news that we cover in this episode. So without further ado, let's get this show started. Live from the Blind Abilities studios, this is Tech Abilities.
So dramatic, Jeff.
I want to do it.
Hi, bestie.
Live from Blind Ability Studios.
Oh, Lori should do it. She's much better.
She's way better. And we should keep this whole thing in.
Way better.
Come on in.
They want me.
Well, now the cats are in here. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, geez.
She comes with friends.
Live from the Blind Ability Studios, it's Tech Abilities.
That's definitely your better half, Jeff.
Come on, cat.
It doesn't work like that.
The cat doesn't have a name.
What's the cat's name? Do you just call him Cat?
He's just Cat.
Come on, Jaggers. Cat.
It's Jags.
Just Jag. Bye, guys.
Bye.
My friend had 2 hairless cats in Utah, and I fell in love with them. They're so snuggly.
I like to just mess up stuff.
You have to keep that, Jeff. You totally have to keep that whole thing. It's hilarious.
It's rolling. Okay, live. I'm Jeff Thompson, and with me in the studio is Serina Gilbert. Serina, welcome to the show.
I am so happy to be back. I missed you.
Welcome back.
Both of you. And Seyoon. And now we miss him.
Sight Seyoon?
Sight Seyoon. I guess that's his nickname now.
And we also have Callie Gray. Welcome.
Hey, Jeff and Serina, and it is good to have Serina back. Miss your laugh, lady, so good to have you back.
Well, Jeff apparently has a recording of it that he uses everywhere.
At the end of every Tech Abilities. Yeah.
Yes, it's always there.
Well, it's a good one. What did you think of the first time I put that ending together?
I loved it, but I have a big ego sometimes, so.
You said that the first time, and I found a laugh and put it together. I went, I'm keeping this. This is good.
Trademarking my stuff over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to start charging you. I would like royalties.
You're going to charge me for having a folder of about 6 of your laughs, huh?
Well, you have how much blackmail material do you have?
Nothing. It all gets deleted. Everything, poof, gone.
Except for Sneed, right?
That was funny. Sometimes people say something and they say, no, I didn't screw that up. And then you play it back to them. They go, oh my gosh, I did say that.
What is Sneed? Fill me in.
We were recording a Job Insights podcast, and I was trying to say, I don't even know what but I was trying to say need. So when you need blah, blah, blah. And then Jeff was he paused for a really long time. And then he was like, did you say Sneed? And I was like, no, of course I didn't say Sneed. And then he's like, okay. And then I kept going. But then he found the clip later and was like, you definitely said Sneed.
So Sneed. Okay.
He still has it.
Of course I did not say Sneed. Sneed. It was almost as plain as day.
It was very clear.
It was fun.
But the way he paused after I did it, he was like, did you say? I guess you can splice that in there, embarrass me again. It doesn't embarrass me. I think it's funny, though. Exactly. And your first impression with everyone that you meet can go a really long way because you never know who you might meet when you're in a job interview.
For sure. You said sneet.
I said meat.
No, I said I'm gonna cut that out and play it back to you. You hesitated. You ended with
you will be proven wrong.
What's really neat about podcasting and editing, sometimes you get to listen to the people who run the podcast, and you develop this cadence to how they say stuff, and you sit there smiling sometimes because you miss these little things during the podcast that, you were paying attention, but you weren't riveted to it, So in editing, sometimes I'm sitting here laughing, It's really funny.
I'm glad I can bring you joy.
I remember we talked about this before. There was this big monster thing in this one swamp that would clean its ears and pull out earwax. If you all remember his name.
Shrek, maybe?
Yes. There you go. Ding, ding, ding.
is he talking
It's like, what is he talking about? And Shrek's like my favorite. I love him.
Yeah, but when you said that you gave your AirPods to your SO, I was like, whoa, that's used AirPods. You know, it's like, oh, I was cringing. But now Belkin has a kit to clean these, just the first generation 1, 2s, and 3s.
I thought that was interesting that it's only the regular AirPods, not the Pros.
Not the Pros. Like, what?
I mean, you can replace the whole tip on the Pros, so maybe that's the thought process.
Yeah, that's true. And so what I did was I took a Q-tip out, and then I got some peroxide, and I got just wet, a little bit damp, and I started cleaning the case down in the bottom. But you can't turn the Q-tip when you're down in the bottom because there's a little thing down in there. So I just kind of moved it a little bit on each one. Then I started cleaning the whole entire AirPod Pro 2s. And, you know, I wondered what the brush was for. Well, I suppose you could then scrape a little bit where the microphones are and the port where the listening is done and stuff. So I don't know. It was just made me clean it. But for $14 and some odd cents, you can get your kit for the 1, 2s, and 3s, but not the Pros.
Did it really say there was an earwax dissolver or
yeah.
something?
Warmer. It's a wax warmer. What the heck?
That is disgusting. I was reading it and I was like, earwax, something. I thought it said
softener,
melter or
earwax
something. I was like,
softener
what
or
is
something.
this?
Yeah. Then it's got
Softener.
like the polish
There we go.
and the polishing
I think that's
cloth
it.
and the
Earwax
brush.
softener.
It's like, that's high intense work. It seems like to me.
Well, Apple did have the $20 polishing cloth.
The polish cloth, yes.
Yeah. So I think this will probably sell.
If they had it for the Pro, I would honestly buy it. They get so disgusting. Like, I would actually use it.
But is it only the tips that get disgusting with the AirPod Pros?
The whole case gets it's just a nasty, disgusting.
Okay. Okay.
Especially with the Pro. I think it gets more disgusting with the Pros because of the way the silicone kind of
Attracts.
curves to your ear. Like, it's just in there. So it's silicone, so things come with it when you take it out. Like,
Are you related to Shrek?
You know, I never even thought about that because I can't see. So God knows what my case looks like. It just never even crossed my mind about cleaning the case. Never. So
I don't think you want to know. You have the regular ones, though, that don't have the silicone now. So those ones, I think, just naturally stay a little bit cleaner because it's not adhering itself in your ear, you know? Sealing your ears. It's not sealing in there, you know?
yeah.
Well, Serina, it could be a personal problem.
No.
No.
It is perfectly healthy to have earwax coming out of your ear.
Okay, when you gave your hand-me-down pair to Chucky, how long did it take him to extract wax and clean them to the part that he would then put them in?
It was a little... So, okay, I gave him my old AirPod Pros. It did not take him that long to clean those because he just took out off the tips and he bought, like, replacement tips for it.
Oh, he discarded them.
When I gave him my original AirPods, though, I was a little embarrassed with how long he was cleaning it for.
Really?
That's what made me laugh. When I saw that article, I went back to when Serina mentioned that. It was like 2+ years ago. And it just made me laugh out loud how offended you were that he was sitting there.
I mean, I would have done the same if I thought, I mean, if you think about it, like, why wouldn't you do this? You know, because I remember when the AirPods first came out, I went to the store to check them out and they were like, yeah, you can just test them out. We sanitize them, clean them after each use or whatever. And I was like, no, thank you. Like, you know, but it just, I mean, had he given me some, I would have done the same thing. It just, I don't know, I guess since I couldn't see it, you're like, you just don't realize how gross it really gets, you know?
I have to admit, the AirPod Pros 2, putting them on, wearing them, awesome sound. I don't think anybody's been able to duplicate it. The form factor and the fit compared to wearing cans on your head, there's nothing like it.
Especially now that they finally fixed the voice over double talk thing. The sound still drifts, though. I don't know if you've noticed. It's more subtle now, but the sound is actually still drifting on them.
Like the last word that's being said by dictation or something or voiceover, sometimes it like whoosh, goes to one ear, just that last tail end, and it makes you,
Mine hasn't been going to one ear, but like you can tell the sound is like moving around, if you know what I mean. Like it's still coming out of both, but it's almost like it's doing the spatial audio, like if you turned your head to the left or to the right. And it only does it for like 2 seconds at the most, but it's definitely still noticeable.
I turned off the part of the spatial audio where it actually uses your phone as its fulcrum, as its point of...
Yeah, I turned that off too. I'm never looking at my phone.
And I have to admit, it's kind of cool. But if you're just going to have them on and you're doing something and you're walking around, it's kind of weird sometimes.
It creeps me out because it makes it sound like it's coming from behind you. Like, I can't do it.
Yeah. It's all right for a certain situation. I'm glad there's options. But once you get into the settings and stuff like that, you can really personalize it to yourself. And I'm really not sure if setting it up and taking the pictures of your ears and your head and all that stuff, I don't know if that really designs it for yourself. I'm not sure. I'm really not.
I think it's all just a thing, but who knows? I did use them on the airplane there and back. Significant. Like that. I mean, I could still hear when they were about to the overhead announcements and stuff. But when you know how it is when you turn off the noise canceling and you're like, oh, guess it is canceling some stuff. Because you can still hear the engines. It's never just like you're in your own world, but it is definitely a big difference.
I wore my Sony 1004s, I think they are, the fourth generation of the 1000 series, and they were really nice, and I did the same thing, and I sat in row 17, right on the wing, so I'm right there where
that's the most comfortable place.
Yeah, because no one else wants to sit in that area because of the engine sound, but it was perfectly sound, and I did test out when someone talked to me, I can put my hand over my right cup, it just drops the sound way down so you can carry on a conversation. It's kind of interesting.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
And Callie, I'm not sure I don't know if you've traveled on a plane or not since then, but it's an interesting question because down the road, we're going to be on a very long flight and luckily Charles will be there. But when I'm traveling by myself, I always find it difficult to tell when the flight attendant is asking me if I want a beverage. So on the shorter flights, I'll just close my eyes so they don't bother me. But does that happen to either of you? Because it's so loud in the first place and it's really hard to tell when they're talking to you. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
For me, generally, whenever I fly, I don't put earbuds in or anything because I want to know what's going on around me because I'm very skittish flyer. Mm-hmm. So I don't have any issue because I don't sleep on a plane or do anything like that. So when they come around and ask something, I'm wide awake for it.
Wow. I could not imagine not having any entertainment.
No, it's I'm fine with it. I'm a scared flyer. Mm-hmm. And, if they make an announcement that something's going down, I want to hear it.
I'd rather just not know.
Not that I can do anything about it, but, I just want to be the first to know.
I got full audio. I'm blocking everything out. I'm just deep into an audiobook or some podcast or something that I've had prepared that I'm going to spend the time doing it. But I know that after you get up and level off and the seatbelts go off and stuff like that, they're going to start putting the card out. So I will pull the ear off to hear if I can figure out that they're coming down. Then I'll keep one ear off and I'll pay attention to it, or I'll put it on transparency mode. And but sometimes I've ate at the airport or something. I don't care about a little snacky or thing, whatever. But it's nice to get water.
And typically I don't get anything. It's just we're hopeful we're going to book a Hawaii trip for the summer. And that's an 8-hour flight minimum. So I'm obviously going to want something at some point. Unless we opt to do the overnight one. It's just interesting.
Typically you fly overnight back when you go into Hawaii in daytime on the way there, because the airport, the flights leave at 6 and 6, basically, when I was there. What was nice about going to Hawaii, when I was coming back, they had airline trouble with one of the airplanes, so they put me in a hotel.
That was good.
I was just thinking, how was that nice?
That was good. I'm like, what?
I had this big hunk of koa wood that I was bringing back, and he says, "Is that koa? Come with me." And I got to miss everybody in line because they're all lined up because they canceled the plane. So it went out into the street, down the sidewalk. He brings me in and he goes, "We can wrap this up, blah, blah, blah." And he just took this wrapping stuff and he says, "I love koa. And by the way, your plane's canceled." And he and he hooks me up. Here I am behind the counter looking at all the people getting service. And a guy comes over and goes, "Okay, let's see," checks it off. And they send me to a hotel in a van right across the street. So here I am in Hawaii in a nice hotel for free.
Wow.
And I get to spend an extra day. So my friend sent over a vehicle and went back to Honolulu for another day.
Wow.
It was fun calling work and saying, "You wouldn't believe this.
I'm stuck in Hawaii.
Stuck in Hawaii an extra day.
Oh, darn.
All because of a piece of wood.
I know.
We're talking about Belkin making cleaner for your AirPods. But there's another thing, a cozy, warmer hoodie.
I was like, is it a koozie or a cozy or is it a hoodie?
Cozy. It's a cozy.
Cozy hoodie.
A cozy hoodie for your Xbox controller. Huh.
But it gets cold, Jeff.
Yeah. when you're in Minnesota and you're playing your games and you're all snuggly with your, under your blanket and your little controller's out there, it's like it wants to be warm too. So, hey, throw a cozy on it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and all these years, my remote control's probably been looking at me really sternly, like,
It's been giving you the side eye all this time.
Your Apple remote your Siri remote is not happy with you right now.
All my little devices here are looking at me now. Me too.
Like, I'd like some shorts, please.
Yeah. Can you imagine a little dress up your keyboard? I think we're onto something.
They do make skins for the keyboards. Like, I remember when I did have a MacBook, like, I looked and there was all these different skins you could buy to put on, essentially over the aluminum casing to like change your MacBook's appearance.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the skins are awesome. When I had Vision, D-Brand was like the major player out there, and their skins were just amazing. Just thousands of different designs that you could put on. And it protects your MacBook also, the aluminum case and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Magic Keyboard for my Mac and stuff. I would like to have a skin go on here with a little tactile, like if you could choose some tactiles, like the little bumps. It'd be nice to have them just a hair bigger, sometimes. Have you ever like missed the bump and you're sitting there going, am I an idiot? What's going on here? Why can't I not find J?
It's funny that you say that because the keyboard that I use for work, it's pretty old. Like, they've replaced my laptop but never gave me a new keyboard because COVID. So they were like, here's your new laptop. You're good. Like, the J has the bump it's like worn off. So every once in a while I'll try to go type, like, get on the home row where you're supposed to be, and I'll be like one off. Disastrous. I love the keyboard though. Like, it types like, I don't know, I like the clickiness of it and everything. So I haven't asked for a new one yet.
They do make these little stick-on bumps. They're little squares, and that really micro something you can put on your keyboard so you don't even feel it, but the bump is there. Now, my name's Jeff. Welcome, Jeff. Jeff. So the home position, Jeff, boom. So when I can't find that, I'm kind of like nameless.
You're lost.
Yeah, I don't even know my name. But yeah, it'd be neat to have some skins that you could do tactile. What do they do? The speed dots that they put on phones
For
sometimes
the phones,
or something?
yeah, I've seen those.
But a keyboard would be nice to get a skin, because then you don't have to aim. You don't have to find it and then put it on each one individually. Just put the skin on there. Tactile skins.
Callie, when they had the skins, because I never looked into them, did they just go over the aluminum, or did they go over did they have some that customized the keyboard too?
The ones that I looked at, they just covered the outer shell of the case, the top and the bottom.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I loved them. I never brought one, but there was one that I saw that was red and had this leaf, and it was just like so nice, and I just never pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah.
But I do love the skins to decorate it, to make it your own. But now that I can't see, I'm like, I don't need it.
Well, and I know some of them are like silicone, so it could be the grippiness of it too to help with that. Like, there's lots of purposes.
Yeah. But that cozy for your Xbox, Jeff, I don't know. For your Xbox controller, I don't know. How much was it? $24? Or almost $25?
Perfect gag price gift, isn't it?
I think that's a lot for a gag gift.
Yeah.
But people will buy it.
Yeah.
$20 for the cleaning cloth from Apple. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't act like you don't have one, Jeff.
I don't have an Xbox.
No, the cleaning cloth.
We know you have one.
No. I did not. I laughed at that. It was like $20.
No, he totally tried to order one, saw it was back ordered for like 8 weeks, and was like, oh, never mind.
Ira made some big announcements, and Janine Stanley came on. Troy couldn't make it. Troy was lost, and I told Janine, I said, if he would use an Ira agent, he'd figure out how to use his Zoom better. But he had some other meetings to do. I guess they're going around to different podcasts and doing shows and stuff. They contacted us, and I tried to get you guys on a little bit, but...
Darn day job getting in the way.
I know, day jobs and everything like that. Anyways, talked to Janine Stanley, and yeah, they got some changes coming up. And one of the articles that Troy Attilio put into their press room, if you go to the website, you can read it. And it's titled, Laying the Groundwork for a Strong 2023, basically. And it's about basically survival for the company. what they have to do to make it viable so it'll be there for us. And if they want to pay the agents and if they want to do programs that on it and initiate, success and all that stuff, that they got to make some changes. And some of these legacy things that have been around for a while, they're just going to do away with those. And they had an announcement, a webinar, and talked all about it. And they released some podcasts, so you can go to the Aira cast and listen to what they talked about, and people have comments and all that. So it's all out there. And if you are a guest of the Aira app, your 5 minutes, what now is you can use 5 minutes free every 48 hours. And if you are a paying subscriber to one of the retail prices, which is introductory, standard, and advanced, then you can use a free 5 minute every 12 hours. It's because 2/3 of their calls are not being paid for. To think about running a business, that doesn't seem to be working so well. But even if you're a guest, you can still go into your Target and use it for free, or Starbucks. But if you want to use the service, I'm on the introductory plan. I've been on it for a long time and I use it. And to tell you the truth, a lot of my calls are just 5-minute calls. And what it is I'm busy doing something. I have to get through this obstacle, this thing, and boom, I'm done. I don't sit there and schmooze with the Aira agent, even though they're very nice people. I just get the information like you would when you come across something on your computer or whatever you're working on and you want to get through it. So I'm glad they're doing it. And then come January 16th is the last day for the legacy. They'll have to switch over to another plan, and they're going to announce some new prices in January. First week of January, I believe it is, they're going to announce some new prices. But if you're already part of one of their retail plans, or their community plans, which is through NFB, ACB, RNIB, CNIB, that's Canada, England, I believe Australia as well. You'll be able to continue those plans till the end of 2023, and then you have to sign up for one of the plans that are being developed, and they're going to be announcing coming up here. It might change the amount of minutes. They want to get more packages. The plans are going to be changing, adjusting to fill the gaps between 30 minutes and 120, or 120 up to 299 or 399. 300 some minutes for the advanced one, So they want to find these pockets because people don't want to get the standard plan if they're only going to use 45 minutes a month because they think they're going to throw it away. And so they might have to subsidize it by buying extra minutes if they want to use it. So I think there's going to be more packages, more availability for people to find something that fits them. And the packages for extra bundle minutes, that is going to change as well. But like I said, if you signed up before January 16th, your plan is good till the end of 2023. That's something to consider. If you're not signed up right now and you want to sign up, you'd probably save some money because definitely they said the prices are going up. I think it's worth it.
I do too. I pay $29 per month for 30 minutes. And there have been many times at the end of the month where I still have minutes in there because my calls to them, for the most part, are generally quick and easy. So they're free. And I kind of feel guilty because I used it because, you can go into the app and it'll say your 5 minutes free have saved you X amount of minutes this month or per se. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. To me, I'm grateful that it did, but now I've got 12 minutes just hanging there. And I do have extra minutes because in the beginning, when I first got Aira, God, I was using it for everything. So I purchased extra minutes, which I'm starting to go through just now because of the 5 free minute allowance that they granted me. So I'm okay with it. And I know I'm fortunate to be able to say that because a lot of people, $29 a month is a lot of money. And you guys have heard me hem and haw on this podcast, when I'm paying $11.06 for something, whether or not I'm going to keep it or anything like that. So $29 could be a bill for somebody. That could be a water bill for that month or something. So I understand how hard it can be for people who are disabled, but at the same time, the company needs to remain viable because otherwise, if it goes away, it's going to be bad for everybody involved if the service goes away. I can't imagine now, since I'm so used to having the service available, I can't imagine not having it any longer.
And I think that's where it gets a little bit blurry in some ways, and no pun intended, I guess. guess, is that I think people forget that this is a for-profit company and decisions have to be made. I mean, we have had quarter over quarter of 8 to 10% inflation, and they haven't changed the pricing it's been a few years. I mean, the pricing's been the same since they added that introductory plan. And I feel like that's been, what, Jeff, maybe 3 or 4 years since that $29 plan came around? Because that $29 plan wasn't always a thing either. The cheapest one used to be like 100 or something, I believe. And then they added that introductory plan. Inflation's going to hit them eventually. I mean, it is what it is at this point. I do think that sometimes we have these awesome tools in our pocket and forget that there maybe are some things that like we could do without this tool. Like, I think that it's so easy to call up the Aira agent rather than like using AI or whatever the case may be. And we forget that there's lots of tools in our toolbox, and that's not the only one. We were able to live independently before Aira, and should something happen and it goes away, I would be super sad too, because it helps me be more independent on my job. But I'll figure it out. Unfortunately, like I'd have to if it went away, and we'd have to use more of our skills that we've been taught through our rehabilitation programs and things.
Oh, no, I definitely agree with you there. But there are times like I received a medical bill and there are columns and there are like all of these numbers.
Oh, yes.
899 dot. And I'm like, do I owe them 800?
You're like, what number do I pay?
I just couldn't figure it out. What in the world is going on here?
Yes.
And I did my best trying to OCR it with Seeing AI, with Voice Dream Scanner, and I just couldn't make heads or tails of it. I knew it was something that I had to pay. So I had to call Aira. Well, I shouldn't say I had to call. I could have asked a neighbor or a friend, but I have this tool available to me with Aira.
Yeah, of course.
So the person told them the information I'm going to need the account number, the invoice number, an 800 number in case I can pay it over the phone, and the website information so that I can do it online, and the amount that is due. So instead of $800 and something dollars, it was only $49 and some change. Like, woo, okay. Thank you.
You're like, thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Yeah, because I just could not figure it out with the OCR apps that were available for me. So like you said, yeah, we would figure out ways to do it, but it's incredibly convenient is what I would say, as opposed to being something that I must have. It's something that I just find incredibly convenient and useful when needed.
Another part of it is the job seekers. They have all these little plans and stuff where people can use it, and they had sponsors of that supporting certain areas of it, like airports and stores and companies and trains, all sorts of stuff, like out in Boston. And you have the job seekers thing, and they're trying to find some company to kind of help support that. But, people would, if they're seeking a job, they could use that, and boom, they get a half hour, boom, half hour. And now they're going to eliminate that to one job seeker call a day for that person. And in defense of Aira, I would like to say a 5-minute call every 48 hours, that's what it's going to be changing to. That's a lot, because I don't need it all the time. And Callie, even you said you weaned yourself off it a little bit because you figure things out. If you have the ability to make a call in 48 hours, make another call, that would suffice me. I support them by paying the $29 because every once in a while I come across something where I'm on there for 15 minutes. And I might be going through my record collection and I want to sort out a new box, and it's just so fast. I just put my phone there and I just keep flipping, and there you go. Sometimes you can tell the agent is like, oh, wow, I had that one. It was like, you got a buddy at the record store. And so it is kind of enjoyable, and I've already paid for it, so I don't feel bad for taking up their time. That's what I used to think. I'm taking up their time, but you're paying for their time. And if you have something of that nature, if you want to go through some old pictures and just flip through them and they could give you an idea what they are. And sometimes, like I found out that I may not be able to tell what the pictures, but when someone describes it, it comes back to mind to me or something of that nature. And you find ways of working with the agent, and all the agents are pretty good. And I'm not being paid by Aira to say this stuff. This is my experience with Aira, and I've been paying the $29 ever since I could do the introductory. And every once in a while, I like taking pictures, and the agent labels it. Like I take a picture of the back of my keyboard for music, and it tells me what the buttons are, or my picture of the dishwasher. And then she happened to label them left to right with a comma. So if I need to figure out what buttons are what, I can pull that picture up in the folder that's right in the app, and there the description is. So there's different creative ways of using it. I mean, I don't have to get an agent to figure out the dishwasher again because I've done that once. So there's lots of things you can do with Aira. And I just like the creativity in this because they have the dashboard. They can do more than other companies that do similar services. You don't get that interaction with the GPS. You don't get the interaction where the photo gets labeled and messages, or you can just text them and talk to them because you might be in a meeting where you can't talk and stuff like that. So there's so many options that they built in, but I'm glad they're really correcting the service so it can survive. And I think that's really what they're doing. They're trying to make it still available for us, but they have to be realistic. Like you said, Serina, it's not a non-for-profit. It's a profit company and they got to make things work.
Yeah.
And I'll say I very rarely will go out to like a strange restaurant and meet a friend like by myself. I pushed myself out of the comfort zone, and a few weeks ago, maybe more like 6 weeks ago, I was meeting a friend, and it was a restaurant I had been to before, so I was somewhat familiar with it, but it was a place where you self-seat yourself and then they come serve you. And the Lyft driver dropped me off, and I was like, I know where the front door is, I'm cool, but little did I know, because I was there last time with my husband and we just walked in together, there's like a fence that goes around like the whole entrance basically, and there's like one small spot you can go through to get to the door. So I start trying to just use my cane, and I was like, this isn't working. So I called Aira, and it was literally like a 2-minute call. I was like, I can't find the front door. And she's like, oh, let me pull it up. And she's like, oh, I see what's going on. So turn here, go there. There's a chair right here. It's super cute table. Like, the agents, I think, have gotten more energetic to perform their duties, and the calls I feel like I've had some times where I felt like I was bothering the agents before, to be honest. And the latest experiences that I've had over these last few months has not been that. It seems like they really are more enthusiastic and super just eager to help.
It's like you got a buddy.
Exactly. She was so nice. I remember that call. And then even when I use it a lot to format Google documents, and the last agent I had, we were trying to figure out, we're like, why won't the text wrap? Like, it's not working right. So he went and did some research, and he was like, oh, we need to turn this off, and now the text will wrap. And it was just nice to be able to troubleshoot that together, because I'm pretty tech savvy, but we could not figure that out. So he figured it out very quickly, and it saved me a lot of time, you know?
Wouldn't it be funny if Aira would punk someone like, oh, it's a gate. It's over a moat. Do not fall. There's crocodiles down below. No, the
Like on Halloween.
drawbridge. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I mean, I always wish that Aira would do some other things like rock concerts, or do other type of narratives like people do with audio description. You hear that going on where they're audio describing stuff. Some of these agents are really good at what they do. So I think there's another area. But right now, I think they really got to focus on surviving, getting things aligned again. And maybe we can have it around for some more years before some other changes come along.
Well, it's just like all the tech companies. Somebody had posted this in the group, like, look around. All these tech companies are laying off left and right. We're not going to talk about Twitter because I don't know what's going on over there. But even the other ones that haven't had all this weird upheaval, they're laying off lots and lots and lots of their workforce. So Aira's no different, and they're probably trying to avoid having to do that.
Yeah. Serina, you talked about Google Docs and Google Sheets on the iPad. So I put a link in the show notes because there is an accessibility site that talks about it. What's up?
I decided to check out what editing a Google Sheet or a Google Doc would be on the iPad, because admittedly, if it was probably a couple years ago I had tried it, and it was a disaster. It was really hard, especially even in the Google Doc, to tell exactly where you were in the document, to highlight things, to add links, those sorts of things. It was very difficult using VoiceOver. And so I just never touched it again. I was like, well, I'll just use it on my computer whenever I need to. But I did test it out earlier this week, and I was surprised. Like, the Google Doc was a lot more easy to navigate. And what is it? The Smart Folio keyboard on my iPad. There's a lot of shortcut keys that work just right with the keyboard. I was able to highlight the text. I was able to add links, and I was able to read through it reliably and be where I thought I was when I was doing things. Google Sheets worked really well too. It just takes some getting used to figuring out, like, if you're in a cell and you've already put something in it and you're like, oh, I need to go edit that. Well, on the computer, you just hit F2. It's super easy. On the iPad, you kind of double tap, and then bottom right, there's an edit button. And then you can edit it, and then you hit done. So it's a little bit different. And if you didn't know, because visually, if someone does that, they can see that that's what it's doing. But with VoiceOver, it does take a little bit of exploration to kind of figure out what it's doing. But I didn't run into any accessibility barriers. It was just different. So I just wanted to share that because it hasn't always been the case in the past. It's always been a little bit clunky, and it felt pretty smooth now.
When you're using the Folio keyboard and you said you double tap, so you're using the screen and the keyboard in conjunction?
Yeah, I find that easier because, I mean, you can technically do the double tap with like the up and down arrow, you can click
hit
that
both
too.
of them, yeah.
But it's just easier just to double tap on the screen. And then for highlighting, I use the text selection feature to highlight, like if I wanted to add a link, that was easier, to select what you needed. And it was pretty seamless. I liked it.
So once your cursor there or it's selected, then the double tap, you can double tap anywhere on the screen.
So I was doing like a keyboard shortcut. So like I was like highlighting text and then I would hit, I think it's Command K on that keyboard to say I wanted to insert a hyperlink in there, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So kind of a combination of the touchscreen plus keyboard shortcuts is what I found worked really well for me.
But it's come a long ways.
Oh, significantly. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that because that's always one of the things that makes you, on the web, it's like, okay, switch over to Chrome. You got to have the right browser. You have to have all this right stuff going on. It was always convoluted a little bit a while back. And now at Perkins at Career Launch, they're actually having some courses coming up in January and February that they're going to be talking about the Microsoft Suites and the Google Workspace. Yeah. So there's some courses that you can take, and I believe it's 20 hours of webinar class time. And that podcast, I interviewed them and they talked about it. And yeah, so it's done by webinar, and I believe it's $250 for the full course, which isn't that bad when you really think about it. And they work with your vocational rehab as well. But if you just independently want to learn how to use accessibility, and it's for PC or the Mac, which I think is really cool because I always thought, it'd be PC they'd be teaching, but they're doing both of them. So that's an option. And that's Perkins at Career Launch, they call it.
I would be curious, Jeff and Callie, especially Callie, as you get more comfortable with the Mac. Sounds like you're doing awesome already. I'm curious because I know a few years ago, it was definitely super clunky on the Mac. I'm curious if that's improved because it's gotten significantly better on Windows too, like just the seamlessness of it. So I'd be curious to see if you test it out in Chrome, if it feels a little bit easier now.
You're talking like Gmail, I went through. I didn't try Google Docs or Google Sheets on my Mac, but Gmail was great. I mean, a few months ago, you told me about the keyboard shortcuts. And they work perfectly, just like you said that they would.
I love the keyboard shortcuts in Gmail.
Yeah, in standard view. And I'm not talking about the
basic HTML.
The basic HTML. I'm talking about working in standard view. Just hit C to compose, and it was just great.
They're pretty intuitive keystrokes. That's the nice thing. Like you're not like, what is it?
But to be honest, I haven't gone there because I have Gmail in my Mac Mail.
Exactly.
So I don't really go there for it. So I don't know. I haven't used it.
But I'd be curious to see how Docs and Sheets works on the Mac and Chrome. It might even work in Safari now. Who knows? Once you turn accessibility mode on in those applications, I'm really curious if it's gotten a little bit more smooth.
Well, you should just get a Mac, Serina, and dig in. I'm
no,
kidding.
Thank you. I am so much more efficient on the PC.
It's really interesting to see how many companies are beginning to start to use Macs in their environment, but I think still the PC is, I would definitely have that under my belt before I try and go solo with the Mac into the workplace.
Yeah. And I don't think government entities will ever move to Macs because it's just, I think that they like all the security things that they're able to just deploy and stuff on the Windows. Like there's so much stuff on our work computers that makes it where we can't do things. And, I don't think they would ever switch, especially since a lot of places are either Microsoft or G Suite. Not a whole lot are Mac, like Pages and numbers, you know.
I have to convert everything. If I use Pages or if I use numbers, everything has to get converted, Excel or Word. And I've never had a problem with sending a Word document.
No.
Never. It's kind of a universal thing. In my garage, I'm working on a few things. Jeff's Egotistical Fantastical Fortress.
I was waiting for you to share the name there.
I was changing a sensor on the doors, and it's through Ring Company. And so I pulled out my app, and they broke they call it the hamburger, but the menu drop down, the first one that you drop down. So you want to go to devices, then you go to that device and you want to add a new device or something like that. But it says hamburger. I mean, that's the symbol because it's a small dash, long dash, small dash, and it looks like a hamburger with a bun and a piece of meat between it. And it will read the headings in the list that pops down, but every button, it just goes button, button, button.
Oh, no. Screen recognition time.
I found where it gets the settings because it says gear. Because it sees a picture of a gear. And everything else is like ticket, credit card, airplane.
Oh my gosh.
You're like, I have no clue what this even means.
No, they just have little symbols there and then the words there, but the word must be locked up in some type of imagery, but they don't have all text turned on. So I called up Ring. Oh boy.
You talked to Jeff?
So I says, Jeff, this is Jeff. He says, hi, Jeff. I said, hey, Jeff, let me talk to you about your product here. And they go through this protocol, okay, well, can you unload the app and reinstall the app?
Like you're not smart.
Yeah. What version of iOS are you running? And they went through all this. Then he said, let's check your Mac ID on your router. Whoa.
No.
And I went into my spiel. It's like, okay, let me tell you this. I am not going to go public onto the Apple site and complain about this app being inaccessible. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go down Twitter. I don't want to put it on a podcast. What I want to tell you is the people who designed the app, their accessibility is broken in the code. That's all that's happening, because if I get past this, it works on the other stuff. A couple other menus are broken too. So they did the same thing. I said 4 years ago, I called you guys and you fixed it. It worked all fine. Now this last update, or whenever the last update you guys did, it broke it along the way. That's all you have to do. Let me transfer you to, because you said you had an alarm. Let me transfer you to someone in the alarm department. Off I go to the alarm department.
Oh my
gosh.
This is why I hate calling customer service for something that's accessibility, because they just don't get it.
They don't get it, and they're just trying to turn the page and see what they're supposed to do, and then
they literally just read a script.
Yeah. So this guy was actually say, "Oh, so you're having an incident that okay," and he says, "I'm going to transfer this." Well, an exception, or I forget how he phrased it.
Did the cops show up?
No. So he says, I can report this incident. I think that's how he put it. This is something that the designers, the developers will have to look at. And I said, yeah, all I want to do is do this. I don't want to go through publicly blasting you guys for it or anything like that. But I just want to get to the accessibility department to tell them and point out that let's fix this, because I've invested. I got 20 things around the house that run off Ring and I can't access it.
You know what I discovered, and I guess rediscovered, because I was writing a blog post and I rediscovered that Amazon has their disability support line. Do you remember that? So on their actual page, it's it's like the third link you encounter or something that says like disability. I forget what it's labeled, but it says customers with disabilities or something. I wonder if you would have called or chatted on that line if they would have been more perceptive and understood what was going on.
Well, I went to the Ring Corporation company website and they have a support and a search. So I typed in accessibility. Zero came up with the word accessibility. I had words like access. All throughout, 350 some things came up with access. I went to the first 70 and then I got bored. And nothing was there.
70? That's a lot before you got bored.
Well, swipe, see what it says. Swipe. It was all access. If you don't get accessibility on the first one, believe me, you're not going to find it on the 300th one either. But I was looking for accessibility. So anyways, it took all that time and I just decided I'm plugging through. I'm going to hold on to this. And I had to listen to their music while they put me on hold. And their music wasn't bad though.
He's like dancing.
Every department had the same tones coming through, so it was subtle. It wasn't like that just
the one that just repeats the whole time where it's the same music. Oh, it's so annoying.
This was smooth, gentle music, like it wasn't
was
bad.
It like Apple where you could pick which music you get to listen to while you're on hold?
No, it wasn't that good, and I wasn't really thinking I was going to stay on that long, but I went through 2 departments. Then I finally got the guy to say he's going to move this along and put it to the department. The second guy was actually like, I realize I can't help you on this, so let's just get you off the line here, and I'm going to send. So he wrote it down. He was writing it down, and I explained to him. The thing is, like all of us, we've used these devices, and when you hear someone that's typically sighted, going through their protocol, their list in front of them, the stuff to do, steps that they have to go through. I was like, really? And he said, go to settings and down to accessibility. And I said, wait a second, on the Ring app. I said, there is no accessibility on the Ring app. There is none. And he goes, Oh, and he comes back. Hold on. He comes back. Okay, close the app and go to your settings and go down to accessibility.
Like you don't know
no.
that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Can you turn voiceover on and off? Yeah, I can do that.
Oh my goodness. Like you didn't try that.
But yeah, sometimes you have to go through it. You have to have the
Yeah, I
tenacity
get
to
it.
just plug it way through. And I decided to do it. And I didn't go on to the Apple store because I could file a thing that says it's blah, blah, blah. But when I typed in on the Apple one to complain about the thing, it says that I have no purchases because they think I'm going to complain and want money back or something like that.
Wait, the Apple one? I'm confused now.
Well, when you go to the App Store and if you swipe down far enough, you can file a complaint.
About the app.
About the
I
app.
never knew
And
that.
Okay, gotcha.
I never knew that you
Okay.
could do that.
Go way down to the bottom, right before it says copyright, blah, blah, blah.
Or
It
nobody
says-
notices.
Well, you tap on it and then it does it like replay. You have to tap on and you're off the app and you're on some website now. And there I was. And all of a sudden it says, but we can't find any purchases you've made from Ring. Okay. So that didn't get me there. But they did have the Ring website for support. And that's how I got to the phone call. And that's how that all
You'll
started.
have to do a demo of where you find the file a complaint thing, because I think that what happens sometimes is sometimes we might get an app, like kind of roll the die. It's only $1.99. Let's see if this is accessible. And then it's not. I wonder if that's a way to go about that, because it used to be really, really difficult to get the refunds when they're not accessible.
Yep. It is a good way. And I'll put a little demo in right now.
App Store. App Store. Search. Blind abilities. 164 ratings. Developer. Artwork. Blind abilities. Button. Page 2 of 4. Page 3 of 4. Page 4 of 4. Copyright. Copyright 2016. Developer website. But. Privacy policy. Report a problem. Button. Apple ID. Do you want to sign into admins.apple.com with your Apple ID? Cancel. Button.
And I mentioned replay, and that really hit the airwaves for a little bit here. I went into it and found out that other people are using my devices.
Why don't you explain what it is a little?
It's like replay from 2022. All the stuff that I've listened to. I guess I'm not listening to enough Taylor Swift there, Serina, but found out that someone in my household, probably that person who started this podcast out with Welcome, listens to her favorite band, Duran Duran. And that one almost beat Taylor Swift in the top 10. She got the top 6, I believe it
My
was.
top 5. In the order I think that it appeared, it was Taylor Swift with like 7,048 minutes of listened to content this year.
So what do you do when you're not podcasting?
Well, and the funny thing is most of it is from October 20th and forward. I mean, there's some from before, obviously, but it's obviously since Midnight's release. So it's kind of funny. And then Halsey was number 2, and hers was only like 1,000 and something hours. So that tells you something.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes. And then it was Demi Lovato, because she had a new album come out this year that was really good. And then it was Fletcher, and then Kelsey Ballerini. Those are the top 5.
Yeah, Halsey made our top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go through some different selections and stuff, but at the very bottom, you can actually get your in review. It'll do this review, but
It cuts the songs weird though so it has this one thing where it's like I forgot what it was called, but it was like basically like a commercial of all your songs, and it cuts those weird, but you always have your replay playlist too, which is cool.
my replay playlist was 100 songs long, and it actually dove in, and I think they were picking and choosing from years past as well, if they ranked really high, because some of them songs they slid in there was like, wow, I love this playlist. Who made this playlist?
It's only doing it from January 1, 2022 forward. And the only reason I know is because my 2021 one was like locked in. No matter what I did, I couldn't get the top songs to change. And then starting 2022, it started shifting around again, because it really does reset the clock. Every Sunday, it recalibrates with the top, how many listens you've given certain things and things like that. So
Well, my radio station is Jeff's Music, so it draws from all my music
yeah,
that I
so it
have.
probably came up in there.
Yeah. So it was really cool because it was actually a blend of Lori's music, my music, and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought it was really cool. I liked having that playlist. It's like, this is cool.
Shout out to Callie for sharing that, because I knew the replay playlists, obviously, but the weird thing about the replay kind of get all your specific stats and really dig down into it is it's a website, like Jeff said. It's not in the app, which I would far prefer that it was actually in the app. That'd be more fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, I could not participate this year because I canceled my Apple Music subscription in November and doing the Amazon Music thing, which is going to make me go back to another music app, to be honest.
So you're doing the one that's free with your Amazon Prime, but it's kind of the shuffles.
Yeah, where I get access to all 100 million songs, but not in the order I would like, because before, and I said on the previous podcast, and from everything I read previously, it said you could ask for it to play an artist or play an album, but it would just be shuffled. I was like, okay, I could live with that. That's no problem. So I asked it to play an album for me. I asked it to play Octoon Baby for me. And it started out, it was playing the songs on the album in shuffle mode. I'm like, okay, this is fine. But then after song 5, it popped up Coldplay and other artists. And I like Coldplay. So I'm like, okay, I can listen to this. That's fine. But then it just kept going and going and going with all these other artists. I'm like, when am I getting back to Octoon Baby? And I never got back to it. So I'm like, this is...
I would say it's kind of like Pandora in a sense, but it's not as accurate. I think Pandora's been doing it for a long time, and I tried it because every time Amazon ups their plan or something like that, whatever they're doing with their music, my Sonos, because I have that set up with Apple Music to be, it always knocks that out of there and it puts Amazon Music back. And it was like, wait a second.
It's a conspiracy.
I know.
It does it to us too on our Echoes.
Yeah, so I have to switch it back. And Apple asks oh, this is the first time you ever put this on here? No, they kick me off all the time.
And when you go to re-enable it, it clearly says that it's enabled.
Yeah.
So you have to disable it and then it's annoying.
Yeah. It's kind of in two spots. You get to pick your music, then you get to say, this is my default. This is what I want it to default to. I have my podcast, I have my music, my book, everything, lined up right there. It's just interesting. Spotify did something else too. Didn't they have a rap or something like that?
Yeah, they
yeah,
have
theirs
rap.
is way more popular than the Apple Music one.
Yeah.
I am curious, Callie, because I haven't had Spotify in so long because I'm locked in. I thought the free Spotify did work the way that Amazon says that theirs would work, except there's just ads every once in a while where you could shuffle an album. Do you know?
The last time I had the free Spotify and I actively used it, it didn't work the way the Amazon one would. Because at least with the Amazon, I could request it to play a particular artist. With the Spotify, you could tap on something and start, but then everything after that would just be whatever. You get a certain number of dislikes and, it would skip to try to build an algorithm for things you would actually like to listen to. But
you might try it again because my sister-in-law has Spotify and it definitely has ads, but it's a playlist that she's created. It's not just up and down stuff. It's specific songs that she's added and then there's just ads shuffled in there. Because I know the last time I had it, I feel like it let me shuffle albums, but I just have no tolerance for ads. So I don't know if that might be a solution for you if you can tolerate an ad here and there, because it's not like the TV ones. They're a lot less intrusive. I don't know. I'd be curious, and I don't even have Spotify on my phone anymore to go test it out.
My kids are Spotify users, and they don't even hesitate with it. It's like, this is my playlist, blah, blah, blah.
Do they pay, though, or do they have a free?
I think what is it, $10 a month or something like that, I think?
I think it's priced the same as the Apple Music ones.
Well, Apple Music went up $1.
Did it?
Not for you, Serina, because you're in the
Verizon thing, yeah.
Yeah, you have the Verizon, but it went to $10.99.
I didn't know that.
Well, Audible got hands-free listening, and that's kind of interesting because on the iOS, now you can use Alexa to... Oh, I just set off everybody's devices, didn't I? Now
You're
you can
welcome.
Now you can use the A lady. Yeah, well, it could be the A guy, the A person.
Ziggy. It's Ziggy.
Yeah.
That would set off mine because mine in the living room is called Ziggy.
I think mine responds to both.
Mine doesn't. It only responds to Ziggy. The one in the bedroom is Amazon. And I changed them because my place is small. And
They probably both go off.
if I say, hey, Amazon to the one in the living room, for some reason the bedroom picks up on it. It's just I just had to change the names, so that's what I did.
That's smart.
Yeah. But I like the Alexa. I tried it out yesterday. It was fantastic.
So explain how you used it.
Yeah, I'm very curious too.
Well, I had to not install it, but there's a button I had to double tap and I had to give Audible access to my microphone because they didn't have access to the microphone before. Now I could just say, Alexa, open, I wouldn't take nothing from my journey now. And it did, and it read. And then I said, okay, pause book. and it paused.
So it heard you even over it reading it. Mm-hmm. That's impressive.
I'm surprised they didn't have it open Bono's book.
Well, I already read Bono's book, so and it's marked finished in my library, so I'm not going to touch it because I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people
You're like, it's on the other shelf now.
Yeah, I'm like one of those people. When I listen to an Audible audiobook, I sit through everything, the credits and like that thing at the end that says, thank you for listening to this
Audible.
Yeah.
Like the old school thing.
Yeah.
But you almost have to because if you don't, it like screws up your bookshelf where it makes it look like you never read it in the first place.
Yeah.
It bothers me too.
So I want to earn that listen, so I sit through it. So I didn't do that, but I started listening to this audio book from Maya Angelou, Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now, and it worked perfectly. And I can see it ideally, but I don't have any cookbooks in my Audible.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Where you could do it all hands-free, whereas you're going through the steps, you could pause and, pick up.
I never would have thought to buy an Audible cookbook for that reason, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you ever done the recipe like using Hey Google?
I've tried it before, but then it gets lost sometimes.
And then you can't even find it. It's like zucchini.
You're like, which recipe was I using?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little glitchy.
And then you say replay, and all of a sudden here comes
it's music,
Coldplay or something. Wait, it's me. Yeah, that's
it's
exactly what it says. So I was just curious how the interaction was with it because I haven't used my Audible app on my new phone, but my 12 probably. I went to my library and everything was gone. I had it set on all. It was gone.
It wasn't syncing.
But if I moved it over, haven't started yet, all Lori's books are in there. You know what I mean? It's like, and I found a couple of mine, but I just don't know how it's not synced up yet. Maybe I have to sign out, sign back in.
It's probably iCloud. Maybe it's not backing up to iCloud from your old phone.
But I'll check my other phone out and see how that's working because I thought that would be interesting.
Yeah, but it's definitely cool. I really love it. The main book I'm currently reading right now, that was just a book I had in my library because Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now is something you don't have to like read in order or anything because it's a collection of essays. But my main book I'm reading right now is from scratch from Libby. And I kept trying to like get it to play from scratch by Libby. Like, okay, Callie, that's not in the Audible app. It's over there at Libby because I get confused sometimes where my books are because I go between getting them for free where I can and then paying, if it's something that I'm going to keep forever. Like Bono's book, I will keep forever. But from scratch, I wanted to listen to that before delving into, well, not delving, watching
we know what delving means.
Before watching the Netflix series.
I've heard that the Netflix series is really good. It's on my it's on my watch list. But now Firefly Lane is coming back, and I loved that show. I'm rewatching part of it because there's a lot of time jumps. There's like 3 different times, and that's coming back on Friday.
Oh no! Like after I'm done with the book, I'm going to start that. I added it to my watch list already.
I might read the book too.
The book is very good, so I'm looking forward to watching because I'm a sucker for romantic movies. So yeah.
I was thinking that we should give away some Taylor Swift tickets, but that would probably break down
You've
our
already triggered so many things on the internet.
Yeah. Blind abilities would be like broken for a while, just like it happened on Ticketmaster. But someone on this podcast broke through and got some tickets.
No, my husband did. Let's give credit where credit is due. So I was super lucky to get a pre-sale code, which I guess they had 3.5 million people register for pre-sale codes, and they sent out 1.5 million pre-sale codes. We got in line at 9:30 our time. Said the queue will open up virtually. Yeah. Yes, virtually. Okay. Sorry, gotta be clear. And then as soon as we got in the queue,
we're not live. We're live-ish.
Live-ish, of course.
Yeah.
Then as soon as we got in the queue, Charles was like, "It says there's 2,000 plus people in front of us," and I was like, "Cool." Okay. And then he's like, now it says the queue is paused. So the queue stayed paused from like 10:10 until probably 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock that afternoon. I kid you not. Then it started moving, and then all of a sudden it started moving really quickly. So if you get in line in more than one device, it glitches and it'll kick you out basically because you're not supposed to be in line more than once. Ooh. So he finally got in to start picking tickets, and then it took him an hour to get tickets because he would click 3 tickets and then it'd say, sorry, not anymore, just kidding. And finally he got the 3 tickets. And then even after he checked out, he was like, oh, It says I got them. Like, he still didn't believe it.
He was surprised himself.
Well, yeah, and I was like, why did you keep trying? Like, you're the best. Like, that's just awesome that you did that for me.
6 hours?
Yeah, I'm not joking. From 9:30, and then he checked out, I think, at like 4 or 4:30 with the tickets. I'm not even joking. And they're actually decent seats. So, really excited.
Wow.
I don't know how he did it, but he did.
Way to go, Charles. Way to go.
Who's Taylor Swift? Just kidding. Just kidding.
She's number 5 in your top 10 artists that were listened to this year.
Halsey was up there, on there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks to me.
Hey. Good music's good music. I don't care where it comes from. I got to hand it to Duran Duran for coming out and making the Hall of Fame this year. Good for them. And they got a great album, and it's not just a rehab of the old. It doesn't sound like their old stuff, but it sounds like they reinvented themselves a little bit. I got to hand it to them. That's good. Same with like Bono when they come out with stuff. They've done it for so many years. I like the Rolling Stones. They keep on reinventing their sound a little bit, just a little bit. I like bands like that. Better than when bands, they've been gone for 30 years and all of a sudden they come back and they're like on tour and one member's in the band, stuff like that. Yeah.
There is a rumor that the Spice Girls are getting back together.
I was really sad to hear about Christine McVie from Fleetwood Mac passing away. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And Irene Cara passed away too. She was only 63. I'm like, oh my goodness.
You know, Christine was
79.
Her name was Christine Perfect. When she was with Chicken Shack way back in the late 60s, 70s and stuff like that. And that's where Mick Fleetwood, and then you had John McVie. So that's where Fleetwood and McVie, Fleetwood Mac. That's where that came from, the Mac part of it. That's how the name came.
Okay.
Remember that song, People Out There Turning Music into Gold?
I don't.
By John Stewart. That was Buckingham and Nix. They had an album out and he heard them, so he brought them on and they were on that album. And then those guys heard them playing it and they were all at the same studio, so they tried something together and Fleetwood Mac was born. Rumors has it. That's a pun. The Rumors album.
Got it. I'm familiar with the Rumors album. They were never in my playlist growing up, but as I've gotten older, I've become more aware of their music and their sound. But when I was a teen, when I was a child, which is when they were at their apex, living at home, our radio station was stuck on WDKX and it never moved. So that was the only music I was, exposed to at that time, coming up in the 70s.
Yeah. Flashdance, was that the song? The
What a Feeling.
What a Feeling, yeah.
Beings believing. No one wants to hear me do that, so sorry, folks.
Oh, no. It sounded good. And
No, it did not. It was just like...
That was a huge song, man.
That tells you how comfortable you are with us.
No, funny story. ACB on Fridays, Saturdays, they do karaoke, community karaoke. And I told them, I'm never, ever doing that because I would just listen in on Zoom or Clubhouse. They said, oh, yeah, you'll get the fever. And I actually got the fever and I did karaoke. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is horrific.
I've never done karaoke in my life outside of my
saw
house.
her in there.
Used to.
It was about 3 weeks ago you were in there.
I used to do karaoke all the time back in, my 30s and 40s. And I even got so good singing badly, but I got so good I could sing Copacabana in Spanish.
Oh my gosh. That's impressive though.
It would just be me and my Cuban friend, we would do it because he taught it to me. I was just like, okay, I got this. And whenever that would be our song, we do Copacabana in Spanish.
I actually really want to do karaoke one day. I've got to work up the nerve because I know I'm going to regret if I'm 80 and I'm I never did karaoke.
Oh, well, no.
but
no, do it. It's so much fun,
yeah.
Serena. Definitely do it. And you have a great voice. I think that you would nail it.
Nope.
Well, no, didn't Jeff say you were out because you were doing something with your choir? Singing Christmas carols? Or was he pulling arts?
What did you tell them, Jeff?
He told us you weren't here because you were practicing with your choir.
Oh my God.
Because you guys go and sing Christmas carols.
Oh my gosh, Jeff, you're horrible.
I bought it.
Bob sent us an email from
you,
California, and he's got 3 songs that he suggests for you.
Hey.
High-tech abilities. You asked us to send Serina our favorite Christmas songs. Well, here are a few of mine. I use YouTube links to the songs. Enjoy, Serina. 1. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. 2. Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas song. 3. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas, and to go with Jeff's or Lex's farting from a few podcasts back. Santa, on the throne again. I really enjoy your conversational style of podcast. It sounds like you are all sitting around the dining room table having a friendly conversation. Thanks and keep up the good work. Bob Geyer.
2 weeks ago, I was in Utah for a work trip. And then the 2 weeks before that, I had a deadline that I was up against for one of my side jobs. I was definitely not with a choir.
Oh, okay. So, Jeff, you're a good liar. I have to tell you because I totally bought it. And that's so cool of Serena, man. They're going to be going around singing Christmas carols.
He
was making fun of the fact that I was like, it's too early for Christmas carols because it was like, I think it was before Halloween.
Yeah.
No, it was like mid, almost Thanksgiving, but someone mentioned that they've already heard Christmas carols, and it was like,
it was not almost before, because I think that was 2 podcasts ago.
Yeah, it was definitely around Halloween.
It was definitely around Halloween.
Oh, really? Take down the Halloween stuff and put up Rudolph, huh?
Yeah, it was before. And you guys kept making jokes the whole time where you're like, Serena will love this, and I thought you knew he was joking, Callie.
I did not.
Is that why you were posting to our list? You were posting all the Rudolphs coming to town, all this stuff, thinking Serena's going to eat this up too.
Well, she was sending that post. I mean, Callie was sitting that at an appropriate time. It wasn't Halloween, and she's like, I wonder when Rudolph's coming on. Like, no.
No, I only posted about Rudolph last week because Rudolph was on Tuesday. So I got to watch Rudolph, and I missed Frosty. So I'm kind of salty about that.
Is it on Apple? Is it? Because sometimes they'll do it for free on the Apple TV Plus.
I don't have Apple TV, but I know they'll do it I'm waiting for Charlie Brown Christmas for Apple TV. So I did watch Charlie Brown Halloween on Apple TV Plus and Charlie Brown Thanksgiving on
so it'll
Apple
probably
Plus.
Be there for
Apple
free
TV.
Again.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think they're going to have it December 23rd, 24th, and 25th. It will be the 3 days.
I am so excited. So I have an audio description story to share with you all. So we watched A Christmas Story Christmas. I think we watched it the day after Thanksgiving, which definitely, if you liked A Christmas Story, you have to watch A Christmas Story Christmas. It totally, it's just awesome. It was really good. It kept the same feel of it all and stuff. So it was really good. But then after that, we were like, let's watch the regular Christmas Story. So it actually has audio description on, I think we own it on iTunes. And when you have the Movies Anywhere app, it links all your libraries like together. So no matter where you go, all your movies are there. So Amazon Prime has it described. And I'm thinking it's, if you bought it, I don't think it's for free on there. But let me tell you, it has the text to speech audio description on it, which I like. I got a lot more out of it. But it wasn't even grammatically correct in many, many places. And then it described things that weren't actually accurate. And it was incredibly, incredibly frustrating. And the text-to-speech voice wasn't even a quality voice. Like,
he got his ear stuck to the pole. Was it off like that?
Well, they said they kept calling a kid Flick when it wasn't Flick. And then they would use incorrect grammar, like the family are hidden under the table.
Oh, what? Wow.
You're going to shoot your nose off.
Yeah, it was just like, who wrote this? Like, and I said, hey, text-to-speech is better than nothing. I'm not going to act like it's not, but can we have it grammatically correct at least, please? So that's my story. Like, you'll still get a lot out of it because there's a lot of visual stuff going on in that movie that I didn't realize was happening. But A Christmas Story Christmas does have audio description that is very, very good quality, and I would highly recommend watching A Christmas Story Christmas.
I never saw A Christmas Story, so I know I won't watch A Christmas Story Christmas. I am
shocked that you've never seen it.
No,
it's
I'm just
so
waiting
funny.
for my faves. I'm waiting for, I'll watch Die Hard.
Have you never seen Home Alone either?
No, I've watched Home Alone.
That one has audio description too now.
Have you seen A Walton's Christmas?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like you're making that up.
No. Don't you remember John Boy?
Well, yeah, I remember them, but like Fleetwood Mac, they were never on my playlist. Also, Jeff, coming up.
To tell the truth, when I saw Rudolph, I sat down like I'm going to watch this 2-hour epic long thing from my childhood. It's over in 30 minutes.
But as a child, didn't that feel like forever?
No, Rudolph is an hour. Rudolph is an hour. I mean, 47 minutes technically, but with the commercials, CBS makes it an hour.
Well, it's a blink of an eye from my memory is like this journey. Oh,
No,
the
I
abominable
agree.
snowman.
But one movie that definitely lived up to its length. It's not a Christmas movie, but I remember watching every Easter, we'd watch the 10 Commandments. I was like on television. And as a child, the only thing that I was interested in was watching the parting of the Red Sea. You know, that's like 3 hours and 30 minutes into the movie before you got to that. It was just like, you know.
It's a long time.
Wow.
That was commitment, Callie.
And I can just remember like barely keeping my eyes awake to like, you know, catch that. But now they don't even air it at Easter. It comes on the Sunday before Easter now on ABC. But like that was like, I was like, oh my God, that movie was like so long. That and like I've never seen The Sound of Music. My friends keep trying to get it.
I can't.
Keep trying to convince me to watch it. I'm like, I just can't do it.
I'm not a musical person. I don't know how you feel, but typically musicals just I can't get into them.
Yeah.
The only one I enjoyed was Hamilton.
Yeah, I didn't like Hamilton when I watched it on Disney Plus.
Spirited.
Well, the audio description is lacking for sure in that.
Yeah, but it's hard to do audio description for that
Yes,
because they're
for live
talking,
theater.
they're singing and talking through the majority of it. So it would be
It's
hard
really
to slip
hard.
in audio description for that. So I understand.
Welcome to Blind Abilities. Da, 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 da.
What has Jeff
is
been
that? What are you
drinking over
smoking?
That's
there?
the Blind Abilities musical that's coming out, folks.
Did you visit Colorado?
No. No.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Jeff?
Huh? Oh.
And then cue our funky music, right?
And for more podcasts with the Blind News Perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, and give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave us a message and let us know if we can put your voice on the next podcast. Drop us an email at info@blindabilities.com and download the free Blind Abilities app from the App Store and Google Play Store. That's 2 words, Blind Abilities. And from all of us here at Blind Abilities, through these challenging times, to you, your family, and friends, stay well, stay informed, and stay strong. I want to thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited
expectations
and the realities
of blind abilities.
and the realities of blind abilities.
blind abilities.